going for an interview, you're the person looking for work, you not only have every right to ask questions, you're expected to ask questions. Employers expect for you to have questions about the opportunity, about what it's like to work here, things that make them believe and they're convinced that you really are engaging with this opportunity. So first of all, be prepared when you go to an interview with questions that you want to ask. But be prepared with meaningful questions. Think about what you're really looking for in your next opportunity. And culture fit, just as important as it is to the employer, it's also important to the job seeker. You want to make sure that you are going to an opportunity that's going to be a good fit for you. Now, culture means a lot of different things, and it can look a lot of different ways. But where you see culture show up is in behavior. It's not just in the way a company describes themselves or the words that they use or in a poster. It's something deeper than that. It's looking at who gets rewarded, who gets promoted, what's the evidence of that culture. And so before you go into the interview, think about what's most important to you in culture. I'll give you an example. A friend reached out to me recently. She texted me frantically right before a final interview. And she said, I'm going in for my final interview tomorrow, and I really need some tips on how to best assess culture. And so we talked through what was she looking for in culture in her next opportunity. And one of the ways you can check this out is by looking online at the way a company describes themselves, also looking at the hiring manager and how they represent themselves online. But then in that actual conversation, in the dialogue, in the interview, asking questions that really get at the heart of the matter. So my friend, for example, she was looking for a leader who was humble and who was transparent and real. And that was super important to her because where she was coming from, she hadn't experienced that. And so we came up with a great question for her to ask the leader that she'd be interviewing with. She said, looking at the past 2 years of this pandemic, what have you learned and what would you do differently? That would show her if this was a humble leader who was reflective and willing to own mistakes. Everybody makes them, right? She wanted to know, was this a person who could own those, speak about them, and talk about what they had learned? The other thing that was really important to her was career progression. And so she looked online at the person she was interviewing with and noticed that this person had been with their company a long time, which was encouraging to her. And during that time, they had been promoted multiple times. That was also encouraging to her. And so in the interview, she asked very specifically about, tell me why you've been here as long as you have, and tell me what your career progressions look like and how you've made the choices that you've made to grow in your career. And then how do you help others? Can you give me examples of the ways you've helped others grow in their career under your leadership? She liked both of the answers she liked all of the answers that she got to both of those lines of questioning, and she accepted the position. So there's not just one easy way to assess culture. You really need to start with understanding what's most important to you in culture, and then reverse engineer the questions to really get at the heart of the matter. It's not just what an employer says, it's what they do. It's behavior over time that builds culture. Good luck.